All right. What was that guy you used to know in the rest of the story?
See what?
All Harvey, was it?
Yeah,
The rest of the story?
That's right.
Well, as my introduction to my 26 years of wonderful years with Mira, I'm going to read again some of Mira's words. It's really hard to not go there. And this is translated from this one of her later books, which this and two other books got her the highest literary award that they've given recently in Serbia. So, I always have a reason to write a book, and that reason becomes my motivation. It all started when my father, and that true man either writes a book, says that either a true man writes a book or has a son. I understood it as a continuation of one's being, a creation that would make one live long after physical death on earth. Whenever my father said that in front of me, a girl and a second child, I did not say anything, thinking, what is there to say? My father knew how to motivate me, and I know that now. But back then, I said to myself, I'll show you what a girl can do. I can write a book. I can have a child, a boy or girl, son or daughter. It's not up to me to decide. That is when I decided to do both. I started writing early. I had a talent for writing, and that was obvious to my father. Mother loved books and constantly brought new books home for us to read. She loved to read, but did not have much time to read, but she created time for us to read. I have written so much more than one book, but I have a daughter, not a son. She has two daughters and a son. She has fulfilled all my wishes, even my father's. For she has a book, a son, and a son, among other things that would make her father and my father very proud. Maybe they are smiling now somewhere over the rainbow. I remember the half smile my father used to get when I got, or my brother made him proud. I always aimed for the best grades, usually earning the dean's praise, just to be graced with that half smile of my father, with no words. I've learned, okay, sorry, that's the end of her words, my words. I have learned that love is not only blind, but it doesn't hear very well either. And these are two things that love that makes it so great. And two things that should always make it one weary as well as it being great. Mira and I got married on the 15th of July, 2000, and left for Germany on our honeymoon in mid-September. We'd not shared a lot of wants, desires, or expectations for this trip. However, Mira made it very clear that she did not want to be marched through a bunch of art galleries, museums. I said, okay, but there's one you're going to, in Den Haag, my favorite. And she said, no problem. We landed in Dusseldorf, picked up our rental car, and Mira calmly said, I have friends that live here. I said, okay, do you have their address or phone number? I've got their address. So we drove by, nobody was home. So now we're off to Scheveningen, probably not pronounced the right Dutch way, but on the North Sea in the Netherlands, for a week of touring the Binnenhof. The Binnenhof, originally built in the 13th century as a hunting lodge, where the Queen opens Parliament on the third Tuesday of September. A boat ride down the canal on the Kinderdijk. With windmills dating 1700s, and an early evening visit to the miniature city of Madurodam, which is the previous picture. It was easier to get a picture of the Benioff there than elsewhere. And then we were off to Germany. As we're getting ready to leave, Mira again calling and asked, "Oh, can we stop in Brussels to see my cousin?" Okay. So off we drive down the coast of Brussels and visit with her cousin, who I believe also is named Mira. Believe me, there are many stories associated with, with this trip that we'll have to wait for another day. During the next few weeks, we shopped in Koblenz, drove up the Rhine through St. Goar, past the Lorelei, visited Heidelberg Castle, seen Gutenberg Press in his castle. Driving up, Mira says, "Do I have to look at another castle?" I says, "Well, yeah, this one." And so we go in, it says Gutenberg on it. Didn't register. We walk in and she sees the press and goes, "Oh, that Gutenberg." So anyhow, we're in Munich, Oktoberfest. Mira doesn't drink. So it was an interesting trip to the Oktoberfest. And she's listening to the news, and Milosevic gets voted out. So then Mira says, "Can we go to Belgrade?" Of course we can go to Belgrade. So we jump on an airplane and fly to Belgrade. No visas, no reservations, just the desire to be there. As we're coming in for a landing at Tesla International Airport, not an airplane in sight. Empty, everything. And I asked, "Are you sure this is an international airport?" So we land, and then the pilot comes over the intercom and says, "The entire nation's on strike. We're going to have to turn the airplane ourselves." Again, we just got out of the airplane. All right. So we finally make our way through all the commercial or communist era red tape and find ourselves in Belgrade. Standing on the corner facing Skupština. This is their parliament building. And there's this explosion in a second floor window, blowing the window out. And Mira grabs my hand, and so now I have a lot of neat pictures of the sidewalk and my feet. And she races me about a kilometer away to this building on Francuska 7, the Writers Association. So we go in there, and they meet and greet her like a cousin or something that's just been away for the weekend. And because I'm her husband, boy, do they like me. And I'm going, this is weird, the whole nation's on strike. 2 days later, they have 100 people assembled to have a promotion for Mira. Yeah, the whole nation on strike. We're staying at her aunt's, and her aunt turns on the TV and says, "You kids be good, I have to go out and demonstrate." This was the beginning of a fantastic 20-year journey where I was, happy to be known as husband of Mira. And that was the way I was pretty much a husband of Mira. A story that's not in here, we're at the Arsenio Charnovich Award ceremony. Mira had got it the year before, and they have the prior year recipient be a presenter the following year. And I'm running around taking pictures of everything and had this little cage for the media. And they said, "Well, how come he can do what he wants to?" And the answer was, when you become Gene, you can do what you want. So through the years, let's change the picture. That's Francisco 7, change picture. So through the years, we went back to Belgrade for the Writers Association International meeting, which most of the time they'd have her leading at least one part of it, if not more, and to the International Book Fair, and we'd have book promotions there. And let's see, where am I? Out to lunch? Nope. Next. In 2004, she was taken down to Herzegovina, said, yeah, Herzegovina, on the Adriatic.
Yeah.
And they had this whole big thing on the Navy base there, just for her. And then the following year when we were there, people said, we want you to come from Frankfurt for a week. You get there, we have everything else taken care of. So we flew to Frankfurt for a week, and one literary event after another. So let me back up a moment to year 2000 again. Mira had a friend, I believe her name was Victoria, and the book Expo America was in LA at the Coliseum that year, one of the very few years. And so she asked Mira if she'd like to display a book in her stand. So we go back home, she says, I have to have a book. So we're busy, I'm trying to learn how to put a book together, trying to get a picture for the cover. I've never built a book before in my life. And so we're out on the deck, on the patio, putting this book together with wood cement that I got from Home Depot. And so we're there displaying the books, and this publisher comes by and he says, who made this? And Mary says, well, he did. How did you do it? I told him, you know, DAP and a whole lot of stuff on the patio. And he said, you want any more books? Give me a call. So that was kind of neat. Next. I'm sorry, that was Frankfurt. I have to go to the other page here. Okay. In 2002, when we went back there, I have about 4 more minutes. The Writers Association printed the book in the middle in Cyrillic, where the other two are Latin and English. So I'm going to skip here to the end a little bit. So many of you know her from the venues throughout Southern California. Her awards, just click through some of those. This RCA Charnovich Award, keep going. And as I used to joke with Mira, you know, in Serbia, you're a celebrity. In Southern California, you're just another poet. And you know, all you wonderful people who've come to help us celebrate the wonders of her life. You know, some of this material, if you want some more information, you know, just give me a holler. And the highlight of her life was in 2018 when we were able to take or have one of Mira's students from the senior center come and join us there and go through a few weeks of literary events. And I believe you're still in contact with some of those people?
Yeah, a lot of them on Facebook.
And that just tickled Mira to death. And to give you an idea, when I say go over there are 2 literary events, 6 weeks, one day after another, 1 or 2 days off at all. The first day we arrived, this gorgeous blonde about this tall says, can you all come to Budapest for 3 days? When? Give me a day. So we went to Budapest for 3 days. Again, we did not get to see Budapest. We got to see one literary event after another. So, Mira's sense of direction. I'm waiting for them to kick me out. We are sitting waiting to go to the last event. Mira gets up and says, I'm going to go window shopping. Disappears.
What?
The women I'm sitting with, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to stay right here. 20 minutes later, my phone rings. And the guy says, are you Mr. Schultz? I said, yes, and you? He said, well, I'm at such and such a hotel. Your wife's here. It says she's lost. He said, she asked, will you call my husband? He said, sure. And she gave him the number. She said, well, it's the United States. That's okay, you'll get it. Sort of. that Google Maps, I went and got her and took her back. So all I can say is, of the last thing, Mira having all the grandchildren, these three wonderful, the 20 on the other side of the family, the great-grandchildren that she's been able to. The saying in my other half of the family is, where's Mira? The answer is, look for a baby. Thank you.